3, 2, 1,
jingle! Happy time has just begun. Brother, sister, smart, dumb, fun.
Yeah.
Duncan, you're not dancing. What's wrong with you?
I'm not dancing.
Look at Duncan. I'm dancing.
You sure
Duncan.
are. You're doing a bang up job. You both.
I know, right?
Bang up job.
Is this the way it's going to be today, Duncan? Or are you just going to be like, no fun, Duncan? I'm going to break you at that. I will break you.
What can I say?
Duncan is
That's true.
too cool for.
I've seen you dance. I saw you dance one time, and you were very good.
Thank you.
So there you go. Hey, everybody. It's Sunday. That means the Brothers Sisters are live with special guest Duncan Williams. There he is.
Clap.
We need some of those clap hands that Chip was freaking out about the other day.
Oh yeah, he did not like. I won't lie though. I hate those things because when you work at a middle school long enough, those always show up and they are annoying. So I get it. So. Yeah, anyway, yes, it's Sunday. We are live. Duncan Williams is with us. He's going to be answering life's persistent questions about Oktoberfest, which is great. I'm a little bit hoarse today because I did lots of yelling because it was homecoming on Friday. Not at the game. I did all my yelling at the pep assembly because that's when you should be yelling for homecoming.
Jenny, I meant to
it was
ask
pretty.
did Madawan win?
No, they did not, which was they lost 7-0.
Ooh.
But it was surprising because everybody was kind of saying that they were going to get blown out by Portage Central, but they didn't. So, it was not the most super exciting game. In fact, I left I left the game kind of early because I wanted to go move my car and I needed to be like at the next to the float for halftime and all this stuff. But it was packed with humanity. And the older I get, the less I like to be around large groups of people. So
Sure.
Hence Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Hence Oktoberfest from a distance. Yeah.
So
anyway, you guys go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, the next time we go to Oktoberfest, I want to dress up like the Oktoberfest dudes in the Lederhosen, and I want Duncan to dress up like the Oktoberfest babes.
Dress up like the St. Pauli girl.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be so funny? But
that means we have to go to an Oktoberfest, which isn't happening. So
I know, but wouldn't that be so funny to see Duncan like with this hat and like a blonde wig with the see
with his beard?
Exactly.
Yeah, that might actually get me.
She says this thing about me doing the Bugs Bunny drag thing. I don't know what it is.
You know what? It never stopped. It was like the first thing I found funny, and it's never stopped being funny.
Yeah, that is a true statement. Yeah, Bugs Bunny and drag is one of the best ever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Singing Wagner,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good Lord.
Yeah. And Bugs Bunny could pull it off too.
Bugs could. I don't think I could. Yeah. I wouldn't presume.
So yes, here we are on a Sunday. Duncan Williams is with us. He is he's our brewer in residence, and he's going to be talking to us about October. It's September, so obviously, why wouldn't you talk about Oktoberfest? Actually, though, it is the last Sunday of September, so there you go. And we have got we have an action-packed show today. And Duncan, I have some things. We have many questions for you, but I have some other challenges for you during this show.
I know it's coming.
And,
sure.
I'm not. I'm glad it's coming. So there, we'll get to it. But anyway, why don't we go ahead and introduce our new listeners or our old listeners who have heard this before and just want to hear it again? And would you care to take us through? Our synopsis.
I would love to, Jenny Brothers. We are Ann and Janice Brothers. Our last name is Brothers, and we are sisters. We're just that adorable. We're in our 50s, which makes us the Generation X, which means we survived the satanic panic. In other words, we were not seduced by the satanic power of rock music, and also we were not sacrificed by people who did.
Or D&D.
Oh, or
D&D
D&D
was a big thing.
Yeah.
People super.
In Sturgis, where we grew up, it was more the rock music,
Yes.
fear of the rock music than more of the fear of the Dungeons and Dragons. Though that was feared, but the rock music seemed to
far more. Sure.
Yes. So anyway, good job, Jenny Brothers. Good job, Duncan Williams.
Good job, man. Way to not get scooped up by the Satanists.
Satan's.
Satan's powers. Yes.
Satan's little helpers, if you will. Yeah.
All right. So we talk about smart stuff, dumb stuff, fun stuff, or any combination of the three. And we are not cool, hip, or sexy. We know this because we read the instructions. So if something comes with instructions, Jenny and I will read it. Even if I love it if they're picture instructions, like the ones you get from was it the one store?
Yeah.
I think you comes with an Allen wrench and picture directions. I'm like, it doesn't matter if it comes with directions.
Oh, IKEA.
Yeah, I will read it. We're not a celebrity, influencer, or true crime podcast. We are the pick your own 6-pack of podcasts, which means we are.
I love picking my own 6-pack.
See, we are delicious, and you will never get bored.
It also means that it's going to be $4 more expensive than just buying a regular 6-pack of one thing.
That it is. Check the freshness date too, if you can.
If you can.
Yeah.
Great to listen to when you want to learn things about stuff, and because we answer the questions you have been dying to ask, but don't know how to ask. There you go. Yeah. This podcast is not G, PG, or even PG-13. In fact, you will have to be at least 21 to truly appreciate today's episode. Join us on our website, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. Like us, follow us, hit the bell, and leave us a review. Give us your feedback with our questions and answers and our polls, and you can ask Alexa to play us. She'll do it because she's that cool.
That is correct. I'm gonna trace back on something you said earlier, Anne, that we do read the instructions. But I'm finding out that more and more companies are getting super savvy, and they have apps now that go with your stuff that you have to put together. So then they have like a little video on the app. The challenge, though, is getting your aged parents to look at the video on the app when they're putting together a bicycle. So there you go.
Jenny, that is just, you know what? I hate to tell you this, Jenny, but I think you're the fool in that situation.
Oh, that's right. I am. Am I the asshole? Turns out I'm the asshole. Oh, by the way, we have a friend, Tara, that wants us to do an Am I the Asshole show. And I think that would be a great idea. Yes.
Yeah. So I think in that case, Jenny, you are, because you just said a bunch of things that our parents think that your cell phone is for making phone calls. So until you know the magic words to convince them otherwise, app. Do you mean apple or appetizer? Because they don't, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay. That's fun.
Super
fun. Oh, that's right, you guys. Now you can support the brothers, sisters, and the work, the important work, obviously, that we are doing by following us, liking us, subscribing on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or Amazon Music. Put the word out to your friends and family. Like, follow us, leave us a review, answer a poll question, and share our podcast with those that you love or don't love, and you just want to punish them with our nonsense. So there you go.
We are full of choices.
Nonsense. That's right. So we have, every week we do this. We take some time and we talk about the dumb, fun, or smart stuff that we encountered this week. And we are going to start with you and your amazing beads.
So I took a bead class on how to make farm animals. This I took because of the volunteer work I do with Glass Art Kalamazoo. And though it's not my first thing like, to make bead animals, but they're really popular with the kids. And so I spent 3 hours making beads. And the one on the left is my chicken bead. And that's my second attempt. And that little guy is going to grow up and be a chicken McNugget because he's that special. It was my very first animal bead. Woof. It was
yes.
It was
a good one.
It was a good one. And then by the time I was done, my last bead was a pig, and I have the pig on the right here, and it looks like a pig. It was a yellow pig.
Definitely piggish.
And it's definitely got Mhm.
The pig was super cute for sure.
Yeah.
Looks like we have celebrities with us right now, and we have
Ooh,
Michigan
the
Storm
Storm Chaser
Chasers is
guys.
watching us.
Right on.
Hey guys,
Hey guys.
great. In case you haven't don't know who Michigan Storm Chasers are, they are a fantastic group of weather guys right here out of Michigan, and they are doing some incredible work right now as far as forecasting weather, following weather. They are the ones to listen to if there's a weather emergency in the state of Michigan. They are on it. You should be tuning in. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on YouTube. And congratulations, Zach. I understand you got married yesterday, so well done. And if you're interested, MLive did a fantastic feature on them. I think it was yesterday or the day before. So you should read that because the work they're doing is amazing. Super props to you guys. When we had the tornado in the Kalamazoo Portage area back in May, man, I wasn't watching the Weather Channel. I was watching you guys, and you did a fantastic job of forecasting that and keeping people safe. And so we love your work, and we are humongous fans, and we always will be. So thanks so much, Michigan Storm Chasers.
Yeah, in fact, whenever we have a big storm coming in near the Chelsea area, that's where I get onto their Facebook page, and they're usually going live, and it like keeps me up to date. So they're awesome. I can't
Yes.
I can't believe we got them to be on our show, Jenny Brothers.
Yeah,
know, right?
You can go back and watch an episode
Yeah.
with them on there. Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
yeah.
that's-
Go
that's
back into
correct.
our
So-
archives and watch an episode where we got to talk to them. Great group of guys. So
That was a great episode. So
Mhm.
yeah, thanks you guys.
Mhm.
And we would love to have you back on when you get a chance, but I realize you guys are super busy right now. So
Mhm.
all right, so I got to talk about my smart dumb stuff. Okay, so two things. First, this is the dumbest because all I did was eat cereal this week, which I know is not good for me, but it's so good. So first things first, homecoming this week, Kellogg's was we have a student whose dad works for Kellogg's. And so as a result of that, Kellogg's sort of donated a bunch of fun stuff for our homecoming this week. Tony the Tiger was at the homecoming festivities on
Wow.
Friday. The Tony the Tiger. He's like a rock star. He has handlers. He has people. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
it's amazing. And then we also got like a bunch of free cereal. So I ate like so Monday we had cereal breakfast, is pretty much all you can eat. And then on Wednesday we had ice cream with cereal topper. By the way,
Jeez.
if you want some, yeah, it was delicious. You just take some vanilla ice cream and you put some marshmallow Fruit Loops. That's right, I said marshmallow Fruit Loops on your vanilla ice cream, and it's freaking delicious.
Is that box?
And then
Sorry, is that box
The
all marshmallows?
No, it's
It's Fruit Loops, but it has
with
marshmallows.
marshmallow in there.
Sorry.
Yes.
I
And
thought it was all
then
marshmallow.
and then my sister, who knows what I like, got me a box of Blueberry cereal because it's Monster cereal time of year. And my favorite of the Monster cereals, and by Monster cereals, I mean Blueberry and Count Chocula and
Frankenberry.
Frankenberry. And there's one more weird one
Count
that they
Chocula.
introduced later.
It's like,
No,
Okay.
no.
Oh,
No,
it's the
it's some wolf
creeper.
or
It's
weird
Carmella Creeper.
like
I don't know how I know
yeah, I
that.
don't know. I don't know. It's not one of the original three, so I tend to
No,
ignore
no.
it. But I pretty much have eaten a whole box of Blueberry cereal over the last, say, 36 hours. And what I learned, okay, so I did one of my first, I would say, moments of scientific discovery was the first time I had green poop. And I don't remember how old I was, maybe 10 or 11. And I was like, what's causing my poop to be green? Because it was like green. And I was like, when you're a kid, this is what you do. You're like, you kind of work it together. And it's like, I knew at that point in my life what causes you eat and then you poop later. So I knew they were related. And I'm like, it's obviously something I'm eating. I can remember like doing the detective work to remember what I was eating. And then I was like, the cereal. And so then, of course, I took a couple of days off and then I ate more of the cereal. And sure enough, more green poop. And I was like, that's what it is. It's the cereal. So now, but I think Blueberry has changed their dye because what came out of my body was a shockingly different color of bluish green, more like a turquoise.
They switched the dye coloring on you.
this one doesn't
I think
cost
so.
Yeah.
I don't know all I know is that I don't think a body should emit that color. I probably shouldn't eat any more of that, but then I ate the rest of it. So
because it only comes out one time a year, Jenny Brothers.
I know, and I feel like I need to fill my body with that until it's gone, and
Mhm.
Then you don't have any
Not
more to
sorry.
eat. Problem solved.
Problem solved.
exactly
Yeah.
problem solved. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, that's my dumb thing was that I
And
ate
they
too much
only make
cereal
it-
this week, and
Yeah, and they only make
Wait,
in
what?
family size. The Blueberry and all they only make in family size boxes, so you had to get the big box, the biggest box.
good. Thank you for getting me the big box of Blueberry. big
Mhm.
box of blueberry. How alliterative of me. Anyway, okay. All right. Enough about my fecal matter. Let us now talk to the Big
Uh-oh.
Brother Sisters. Welcome to Duncan, Arthur, Williams.
Yay.
Yay. Yes. Duncan, first off, Duncan, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Duncan, I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
What do you call it when you drink beers with a German composer?
Something about Beethoven or something, or
No,
Mozart.
dude, it's Boktoberfest. Boktoberfest.
Okay, I should have gotten that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Boktoberfest.
you should
Very
have.
nice. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, now that we've got.
Did you make that up?
Oh, Joe and I have been at this all morning. So
Oh,
Joe
okay.
has.
Yeah. Oh,
I told him what I wanted, and then he
I
had
should have known it
he had
had Joe
Google.
Peter's fingerprints all over it. Yeah.
Oh, dude, Joe Peters has his mittens all
Yeah,
over this, so you'll know.
Joe Peter was
Yeah, we
inside.
spent way too much. Yeah, we spent way too much time on this, and we're gonna make sure we make the most of it. So
Right
yes,
on.
Duncan Williams. We have a bunch of questions to ask you. For those of you who don't know who Duncan Williams is, allow me to introduce Duncan Williams. He is the man, the head brewer at the Grizzly Peak Brewing Company in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where he has been brewing some beer there for a while, and he is, to say the least, an expert in his field. So I'm gonna do give us a quick up close picture. You can see him. He's wearing his official brewer's hat,
This
and
one
he's
right here.
wearing his official brewer's beard, and he is wearing his official brewer's flannel shirt. So
Yeah.
he is,
Sort of
yes,
a-
he's fully ensconced in the profession. All right, so Ann, you want to take the first question, or would you like me to take the first question?
I will be happy to take the first question. Duncan, could you please tell us something smart, something dumb, and something fun?
Well, something smart, I guess. I'm kind of into like British and Scottish and Irish history, and some friends of ours got us this book called "How the Scots Invented the Modern World," and it's amazing the effect that the Scottish people have had on it. There's invention, the television, the pneumatic tire, the flush toilet, a full body MRI scanner, the telephone, bike pedal, kaleidoscope, ATM machine, and the first municipal fire department was in Edinburgh in like 1820. And
Good job, Scots. You're the best.
and the reason they explain is during the Protestant Reformation, where John Knox, the big Calvinist fire and brimstone guy, he was super anti-Catholic, obviously, and it was awful. But what he insisted that everyone be able to read, because he didn't want the priests or whatever telling them what to do. So the literacy rate in Scotland after a while was much higher than it was in England. And that essentially started up the sort of ideas, philosophy, and science and technology. And as a result, that really sort of lifted up everything, and a whole bunch of stuff was created. And there's a podcast, our YouTube channel called Scottish History Tuesdays with this great guy named Bruce Fumi. And there's another podcast called This'll Do It, where these Scottish guys who live in America basically say everything was created by the Scots. You know, Halloween was created by the Scots. The Irish may have an issue with that. But anyway, yeah, just it's amazing how much the Scots people and what they called the Great Awakening by all these Protestant Scottish immigrants in the United States actually started the American Revolution. So without all these Scottish immigrants, we wouldn't have probably this country. So anyway, so that's kind of smart.
So Duncan.
Oh, here we go.
What do you call it when you're drinking beer with a bunch of golfers?
Something with 4 in it. Let's drink 4 beers.
It's Scotstoberfest. Scotstoberfest. See what I did? I just took what you said and I made it into an Oktoberfest
You
joke.
sure did. That was good. That was good.
Now you don't have to come up with anything dumb.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. So
I did it for you.
Yeah.
I am.
So I just came up with something. I thought it was or something smart, dumb, or fun, and I just came up with smart. I guess.
It sounded very smart. So good job.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
All
that
right,
was
Right. Yeah, and I took care of.
I read it
for
wrong
you,
when you
so
showed
yeah,
it to me, but
that's okay. No, that's awesome.
yeah.
So I get to have the second question. Duncan, tell us what your spirit animal is.
Probably the monkey or the coyote. Because in Chinese
Zodiac.
Zodiac, thank you. The monkey is always kind of being hoisted by his own petard, if you will. He's trying to something would happen, and the same
I don't know
thing
what that means.
in Native American culture. The coyote is always doing this, like basically the coyote in Roadrunner and Coyote, where the coyote is trying to plot something, but he's always getting hoisted by his own petard. He's done by his own work. So both in Chinese Zodiac and that. And it seems like I'm always just opening my mouth and saying the wrong things a lot of the time. So I would say that one of those two are my spirit animal. That was really, I took a long way to go around to get there, but
I feel like you've made our show so much smarter because you've said it twice. Hoisted by your own petard. I'm like, look at that.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
But
I don't
then
even
you
know what a
explained it.
petard is, but I've just heard the express. My mother's an English teacher, so
I bet the Scots
Obviously.
the
invented it.
Scots invented the petard.
Scots invented that. I'm like the Scots.
I'm sure they have. Yeah. Or
Sounds like
if
something
not,
from
if
Macbeth.
not,
That counts.
if not, they perfected it.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
They made it a better petard.
This petard is crap. This one's better. I don't
Okay.
even quite know how to spell it, but okay. Yeah.
PE. If you have any insight on what a petard is or how to spell it, please feel free
Yeah,
to leave
let us
us a
know.
comment, a question, or a confession about that. All right. Okay, Anne, you have the third question. Here it is. Oh, wait, are you looking up petard right now?
She was, but that's
then
fine.
then I forgot. I was like P. I got a little fuzzy after that.
All right. As the research analyst for this show, actually, this is what we need. This is why Joe needs to be here, because our regional manager would be looking at this up right now.
He should be doing that right now while he's watching, unless he's working.
I know. Joe, are you watching? If so, can you please look up the word petard as our regional manager? All right,
and
good.
type
All right,
in.
Anne?
Duncan,
You have the
please
next
tell us-
question.
Would you please tell us, Duncan Williams, how did you become a beer expert? Because we've said now that you're a beer expert.
Yeah, I don't know.
Justify
I
it.
sort of bristle at the word expert, but I'll let that go. My older brothers kind of turned me on to beer, and they were big Stroh's drinkers back in the day. And then I think my brother Doug started drinking a lot of like imports rather, like Bass and Sammy Smith and other ones. And then sort of around the time the craft things, so Sierra Nevada, Honey Brown Ale, and all these other sort of craftish sort of beers. And there's a while that I didn't drink beer at all, but then I kind of started drinking it in college, and I really got into it. And then actually your dad, Mike, he bought me a homebrew kit for Christmas. And then I was just off to the races. I used that homebrew kit, brewed a couple batches. They're out front.
Mhm.
That'll be fine.
No, they're out here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You're gonna go? All right.
Oh,
Yeah. Anne's gonna go corral chickens.
yes.
And
good.
so anyway, yeah. So I bought a bunch of homebrew equipment and started brewing pretty hot and heavy. In the Ann Arbor area, there's a homebrew club called the Ann Arbor Brewers Guild, and the people from all over sort of Washtenaw County and beyond. And some of these people have been homebrewing since before it was legal, like in the 1970s. Jimmy Carter is actually, by the way, the guy who made homebrewing legal.
Jimmy Carter, who turns 100 this week. Go, Jimmy.
Oh yeah, because
Go,
I heard a
Jimmy.
story,
Go,
and I wasn't
Jimmy
sure.
Carter.
I wasn't sure if he died because they were talking about him, or he's still alive. But
He's still alive.
anyway,
He
yes,
turns
so
100
Jimmy
this week.
Carter.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter is the reason why people can homebrew. And anyway, so I learned a lot from all these people, and I still know a lot of them quite a bit. I took a short course at a brewing school called the Siebel Institute in Chicago. I came back. I worked at this place, CJ's, very briefly up in Commerce Township, and then I got a job at Grizzly, September 2001, and then I've been there ever since. I was under Ron Jeffries, who started up Jolly Pumpkin. He left like about 3 years after I started, and I became head brewer, and I've been there ever since. So
Okay.
yeah,
Nicely done. By the way, a petard, according to the internet, is, and I quote, a small bomb or firework that was used to break down doors and gates or breach walls. The word petard comes from the French word petard, which comes from the Latin word pedere, meaning to break wind or to fart, and I know. The ism "hoist your own petard" means to be hurt by your own plan, or hurt someone else, or fall into your own trap.
or somehow
Because
fart in your own face.
fart in your own face. You farted into the wind, into you. So there you go. Now you know. Now have you
Petard
you
is like a
now
bomb used to break down doors and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right?
There
So
we
there
go.
you go. Now you know, learning stuff. This is what we do on the Brothers Sisters. You
There you
learn
go.
things about stuff. Today you've learned about the word petard.
There
It's
you go.
spelled
Right on.
Petard. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right, Duncan, your next question. What is Oktoberfest?
So I knew some of the broad strokes, but I did a little bit of research, and if I can read my writing. So on October 12th, 1810, in Bavaria, Prince Ludwig, somebody, married Princess Therese, somebody, and it was a big deal. And they had a big party. It was such a big deal that they decided to celebrate their anniversary in a big party every year. And then, of course, the Napoleonic Wars started in 1810 and raged for a couple of years. So that was put on hold. But around 1819, they got it rolling again, became a huge, huge deal. When they would bring out a cask or a barrel to tap it, and they would tap it and say, "Oh, Zapfitzis," which means it's tapped, and they'll tap it to ring in or open Oktoberfest. One interesting thing, it reminds me of a story my grandma told me when she would go to Bablo Island, and they'd have these whiskey tents where people could drink. And if they drank too much, these people with wheelbarrows would come through and throw them in the wheelbarrow. And they had something very like that at Oktoberfest, and they called them Bierenleichen, which is beer corpses. So people who drank too much and passed out. They would collect them. I don't know about wheelbarrows or whatever, but my grandma telling me that story was hilarious.
I want to go to
Wait,
that
tell me that
Bablo
again.
Island. That's the Bablo Island I want to go to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. So I think
Wait, I'm going to put the Bavarian flag up. Look.
Oh,
It's
there
the
you go.
Bavarian
Yeah.
flag.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, so
If you notice on our slideshow, the background is that color because
Yes.
I
Oh
wanted
yeah, I
to-
did notice.
yeah.
I noticed it was a very
nice.
festive
Yeah.
blue.
Yeah. So it
Yes.
takes place in Munich, of course. And that's where the actual official Oktoberfest takes place. And it's huge. It's become very, very commercialized, and a lot of, people have monetized it and stuff. And of course, there are other Oktoberfest celebrations all over the world. But that's sort of the original one. I can't imagine wanting to go to it because kind of like you, Jenny, I'm not a big fan of crowds or people or anything like that. And I'd rather just go to Germany and go to a bunch of places and drink a bunch of beer than deal with the beer liking,
the beer corpses.
or become a beer corpse. Exactly.
Hey, Duncan.
Yeah.
Duncan. What do you call it when you drink beers with a bunch of people hanging out and telling time?
Oh, Tempest something. I don't know.
Clocktoberfest.
What is it? Oh, Clocktoberfest. Oh my God. I'm gonna punch Joe Peters in the face the next time I see him.
No, that
really
one was mine. So
no, it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna punch you in the face because you'll punch me back and it'll hurt.
yeah, I've totally punched you back. Joe's more of a pacifist. So yeah, like I said, I'm just getting warmed up. Plenty more where that came from
Right
to rest me.
Right. So yeah, I can tell you more about her. You have some related questions to it. I can't.
No, tell me more.
Okay. Anyway, so I think this is one of the questions, but I'll just talk about it. So it says Oktoberfest, but most of the celebrations are usually in late September, early October. So the original Oktoberfest was the 12th or the week of the 12th or whatever. It turned out in Bavaria in the time, which is sort of Northern Europe, the weather was most of the time too cold and untenable. So they ended up moving up a couple of weeks. And that's why, I think officially, and again, the calendar moves around, but this year it's like the last week of September and the first week of October, if I'm not mistaken. So it usually lasts, at least the one in Munich, at least lasts 2 weeks. I do have some other really interesting things about, I guess you're going to ask about the types of beer, so I can hold off on that and talk about the beers and the history of the beers. So,
it's easy to forget that Germany is like cold. It is a northern country, so that makes sense that you would have it a little early. I wonder
Right.
if with climate change, if they'll just
Yeah.
start having it in October all
Ann
the
and
time
Ann
now.
and I were talking
Yeah.
about that exact same thing. It's
Maybe
like,
it'll
yeah,
be-
with global warming, maybe they'll move it back to, to mid-October.
Novemberfest,
Mhm.
November
Decemberfest.
Fest. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't for some reason it doesn't have the same ring to it. It's that hard K in the middle of
Mhm.
Oktoberfest. Yeah.
Sure, right,
So
right,
yeah,
right.
good. All right. Well, you already answered this question. Was where did it originate?
Mhm.
You know,
Yep.
Bavaria.
Bavaria, which is
Mhm.
Germany.
Mhm.
Okay, here's this one. Let's talk about the type of beers that are associated with it.
Oh, well, originally, the beer that associated with it was a sort of a dark lager. There's a style of beer called Dunkel lager, which comes from Munich, and Dunkel means dark. And two of the really big beer styles that came out of Bavaria were the Helles lager and the Dunkel lager. Helles meaning pale, Dunkel meaning dark. So as far as they know, when Oktoberfest first started, they were making something like a kind of deep amber brown beer. And I think at the same time, they were making lagers at the time, but they were still learning how to make them. These are cold fermented, cold aged beers. And something interesting happened in the early 19th century. Actually, a lot of technology when it came to malting and drying grains. Real quick overview. All beer is basically made from barley or maybe wheat, but mostly barley. When you grow barley, it's this complex matrix of carbohydrates, and you really can't do anything with it. You can't put yeast in it and get it to ferment because all those starches are too complex. So the maltster is the person who takes the barley and he does this sort of controlled germination process. When you put a seed in the ground, you water it, germination is happening. That's when the moisture is activating all these enzymes, which are breaking down the store of carbohydrate energy and growing the seed into a plant, right? Mm-hmm. So during the malting process, they're not trying to grow a plant, but they're trying to break down a lot of those carbohydrates to simpler carbohydrates. And so after about a week of this stuff germinating, they stop the process and they dry it to get all the moisture out of it so it can sit in bags in a mill room at a brewery somewhere without getting bad. Now, depending on how they dry it, how long they dry it, at what heat they dry it, will affect the color of the malt. So essentially, it's barley, and then it gets germinated and dried, and then it becomes malt. Now, in the 19th century, the British, the English, and especially the Scots were really good at producing malt, drying it malt to very specific temperatures. Because before then, everyone was just doing it under fire. So what you had is this very dark, uneven beer. These two guys, Anton Dreher, who is from Austria, from Vienna, and Gabriel Sedlmayr from Munich, Germany, they knew that the British were doing really, really interesting things with malting. So they went over and they learned a bunch. They each went back to their country. And so Dreher from Vienna started making this amber lager called Vienna Lager. You've probably heard of it. And then Sedlmayr, who was from Munich, started brewing Munich Lager. Or I'm sorry, not Munich Lager, what he ended up being called Märzen. And that's essentially, Märzen is essentially what everybody thinks is of Oktoberfest lager. It's an amber, relatively rich, relatively low hopped lager. And its cousin, Vienna Lager, is usually not as rich, not as intense, because the Vienna malt isn't as kilned as darkly as the Munich malt that goes into the Märzen. So after a while, from that dark sort of Dunkel style, after Sedlmayr created it, Märzen became the drink of Oktoberfest. Like probably 5.5, 6, maybe a little stronger than that. Lots of interesting rich malt character, very little hop. We're getting to fest beer in a moment.
Is that what this is? Is that
no?
It's
not
kind of
quite.
beer? Okay.
No, it's not quite. And I'll talk about that. So that's essentially what it was. And then, and again, the real providers for Oktoberfest was a brewery called Spaten. And they were making Märzen they were essentially the preferred vendor, if you will, for Oktoberfest. And then the Paulaner brewery, I think I don't know if it was by demand or whatever, people were saying, oh, this Märzen is too dark, it's too rich, it's whatever. So Paulaner came out with the Fest beer. And it was a little bit lighter in color. Some of it was golden, some of it was amber, but not as dark as a Märzen. So as a result, it was less malty, less rich, and it generally had a little bit more hop character, not quite like a hoppy Pilsner. And that's essentially where Fest beer came from. So if you go to Munich in Germany or any sort of properly run Oktoberfest, you generally have a Märzen, or what they may just call an Oktoberfest lager, and then a Fest beer. So what we have here at Grizzly Peak is a Fest beer. So
Beer expert,
yeah,
ladies and gentlemen.
So, yeah.
Duncan Williams.
And I'm gonna pour my beer.
Beer.
All right. So
Mhm.
yeah. So for those of you that don't know Duncan, now you know that Duncan's not just a beer maker; he's a beer historian, and that's why his beer.
And I may not have all
amazing.
those details right, but hopefully they're pretty close. So.
I think you probably do, but no, I think that's what separates you from just your average brewer is that I would say you have made historically accurate beers. Well done. All right, so Duncan, take me through this beer that we're about to drink here. This is the Grizzly Peak Brewing Company. This is the Grizzly Peak Fest beer.
Fest beer. Fest beer is German for festival beer.
Yay!
You know. So again, there are different interpretations really of Märzen and Vienna Lager and Fest beer. Again, they can be a little more golden, or they can be a little darker. They're just not nearly as dark as an actual kind of amber lager Oktoberfest. This guy's made from all Vienna malt. Oh, you have your I have
my Hobbit mug. Look, Joe, I have my Hobbit mug. Oh, wait, I have to interrupt you real quick. Speaking of festivals, Duncan, what do you call it when you drink beers with a? Oh no, wait, that's the other one. What do you call it when you drink beers with someone that will not let your buddy get laid?
Something cock blocker Oktoberfest. Cock blocker fest. Something like that.
You're nearly correct. It's Cock Blocktoberfest.
Cock Blocktoberfest. Okay, yeah. Something like that.
That one's Joe's.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I get it. Yeah. So,
okay.
So yeah. So talking about the Vienna lager
This
again,
one smells so good.
Yeah. So talking about the Vienna lager, that Dreyer kind of came up with in Austria. This has got 100% Vienna malt. So if you look at your colors of malt, you basically have your palest malt is essentially your Pilsner malt. It's very light, which means it hasn't been kilned or dried rather as long as some other ones. Next to that is like a British style pale malt. Next to that is what's known as a mild malt. And then generally next to that is a Vienna malt, then a Munich malt. And then anything beyond that is generally a crystal malt and goes through sort of a different kilning process. So this has got 100%, almost 100% Vienna malt. So it has this nice sort of toasty character to it. Again,
Super
Vienna
good,
malt
yeah.
isn't going to be nearly as intense as say like a Munich malt. Oh yeah, here you go, babe.
So where do you get this malt? Like, this isn't something you just go to Costco and get the Vienna malt.
No. You need to get it from a supplier. If you're a home brewer, you should be able to find a supply of this stuff. I have a number of different suppliers that I use to get malt and hops and other things from, and usually you can get a pretty good variety. In this beer, there's also this special, relatively new, or newish malt. What the Weiermann, it's a malter in Germany out of Bamberg. They call it Special X. It's a very dark crystal malt. And I just use a teeny bit because I wanted to make it a little color-wise. I wanted to make it a little closer to a Märzen or an Oktoberfest.
Okay.
Because people sometimes drink with their eyes, and if they see a beer that's a little bit lighter. So I've made this beer over the last couple of years because I don't make Märzens because I prefer something with a little more hop character. But every year I've made it just a teeny bit darker to make it a little bit more the color of an Oktoberfest. But again, this has got definitely more hop character than a nice kind of spicy hop character. We're almost out of this batch. So, and I might have mentioned as a beer sits after fermentation and packaging, it loses its hop aroma, its hop bitterness, and its hop flavor over time. So this beer probably when I first put it on was hoppier. And again, I'm not talking like IPA, super bitter, dank citrus, pot-like character. This is going to have this sort of spicy, noble hop character to it. So yeah, that's pretty much, again, the idea of a fest beer was it's not as super rich and chewy and what some some brewers call beefy malt character, and yeah, it describes it, but it doesn't describe it. Yeah. My buddy Mike, he was with somebody, and this guy was drinking this really malty beer, and he says, "Wow, that's a pork chop in a glass." It was very funny. I guess I'm the only thing that's funny, but
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So that's essentially a fest beer, and again, I like Oktoberfest, I like Märzen's, but I really like kind of the more balance of a fest beer. So. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, that leads us to question 7. So, what is your ultimately your favorite style of beer and why?
I'm really in love with lagers. I'm in love with making lagers. So like a German Pils, a Munich Helles. The Pils, obviously, the original Pilsners were the Czech Pilsners, and then eventually sort of the Germans started brewing. Oddly enough, the brewer who made the first Czech Pilsner was a German brewer. But yeah, and then so the Germans started brewing their own Pilsners, depending if you're talking North or South German. They're generally drier, maybe generally a little hoppier than Czech Pilsners. And then Helles was sort of made to compete with Pilsner. Helles is generally a very dry, very malty beer with not a lot of hop character to it. So I like the challenges of making lagers because they're hard to make. If you're brewing an IPA, a really hoppy, and you're throwing a bunch of hops in a beer, or you're using a very sort of aromatic yeast like a Belgian yeast or a fruity English yeast, that can cover up a lot of flaws you make in the brew house or during the fermentation or with water chemistry or ingredient selection. And with a lager, it's almost kind of like a master class in making beer. And there's a lot of breweries who basically just make IPAs and think they can just jump into making a lager. And I've tasted, and I'm not judging them because you have to start somewhere, and you have to start somewhere. But I go to a festival where you have a brewer that's just making IPAs and think they can just jump into making a lager, and it's not easy. It's not easy, and it takes time. So I really really like that challenge. So, yeah.
So cool. Well, good.
Yeah.
All right. Anne, would you like the next question?
I would love it. Where's the best place in Michigan other than Grizzly Peak Brewing Company to get a beer?
Down the street, there's a brewery called Blue Tractor. He's a buddy of mine, Pat's the brewer there. He's a better brewer than I am. He makes better beer.
Down the street in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What did I say?
You said down the street.
Oh yeah, not from here, not in Chelsea. Yeah, he's just right down there. No, just down the street on East Washington Street. Yeah, he makes excellent beer. Corner Brewery, which they originally had the Arbor Pub and they closed that. They opened a place on the west side. But Corner Brewery, which is their sort of production brewery, they make excellent beer. Up in Traverse City, there's Farm Club, Earth and Ales. Drafting Table in Wixom is really good beer. What's Nate's place? River's Edge. Yeah, there's a bunch of really, really, really good places. Yes. There's a question that's gonna go back to brewery.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really, really, really good brewers, and most of these are people that I know, really. But yeah. Batch down in Detroit is really good as well. So I haven't been there in a while.
Nice.
But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Duncan.
yeah. Okay. Another one.
Knock, knock. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Knocktoberfest.
Oktoberfest who?
Knocktoberfest is what you have with a bunch of people who like to tell audience participation jokes. Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah, that was good.
Liar.
They gave me shivers. They really did. Yes.
Wait. You're making fun of my jokes, which means it must be Mocktoberfest.
Oktoberfest. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right off the cuff, Jenny Brothers.
Very nice.
Right
Very
off the
nice.
cuff.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Right on. Right on.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
have to punch.
So, yeah, you're gonna have to punch Joe in the face. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Again, that's the second one. Just two.
Just two.
Yeah.
I'm just really glad you're going to punch him in the face and not punch me in the face. All right. So, all right. So I asked you that one. All right. So what if you weren't drinking beer? So let's say you're not drinking beer. What would you drink instead of beer?
Water.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm not a big wine or a liquor drinker. Cider's okay. I don't really care for mead. Yeah. I probably would just drink water, or maybe like a LaCroix or something. I don't know.
Which is also
Wow.
water.
This
Which
is a
is
man
also
who's
water,
not willing
yes.
to compromise.
Carbonated flavored water. Exactly.
Otherwise known as water.
Yeah. Some soy.
All right.
Soy
So
milk, maybe.
wait, did you say soy milk?
I don't know. Yeah.
I'd rather just drink soy milk than anything.
I'll take a carbonated soy milk, please.
Ew, oh god, that makes my stomach hurt just thinking about
Yeah,
it. When are you guys gonna make a soy milk beer? Because that's gonna be a thing, right?
Oh God, it could be. You never know, man.
Exactly. Duncan. Duncan.
Yeah.
What do you call it when you drink beers with Leonard Nimoy?
Oh, Vulcan. I don't know. Something Vulcan. I don't know.
Oktoberfest.
Spocktoberfest. Yeah, there you
Nice.
go. Right on. Yep.
Nice.
Excellent. Well done.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
is
can
this
feel
over now?
No,
This interview's over.
it's not. That's okay. We'll fill the time with me simply telling more Oktoberfest jokes.
Sure.
I've got more. Okay. All right. Hey, here's one. So we are in a time where we're seeing a big NA movement, which I think is awesome.
Mhm.
What are some great options for non-alcoholic beer?
I haven't had a lot of luck with NA beers. There's a number of different ways you can make an NA beer. You can do a stalled fermentation where you make a beer that isn't nearly as strong or has as much original sugar content. Because what measures how strong a beer is going to be? The original amount of malt sugars versus how much is left after fermentation. You can get a general idea of what the ABV, the alcohol, is going to be. So in arrested fermentation, they'll start very low on the sugar content, and it'll only drop a little bit. These beers tend to be very sweet. Oh, hey, Jeannie.
I think she's mocking you because of the Spocktoberfest one. So
oh, sure, fair enough. I deserve it. And then you can use like genetically engineered yeast, which don't produce ethanol or as much ethanol. The main one is boiling under a vacuum. So you make the beer in a particular way, and then you boil it at low pressure or you boil it at high pressure, so it doesn't you don't have to get it as warm, and it doesn't cause as much damage. Because when you get a beer or any substance warm, it's going to cause it to, again, it's going to change the flavor, change the hop flavor, and everything else. So the most common way is doing a vacuum distillation, I believe is what it's called, and that pulls a lot of the alcohol out of it. I personally think a lot of brands suffer, and they're not as good. And as far as stability goes, if they don't have the alcohol, a lot of like wine or any product, what's helping preserve the beer is the alcohol in it. Whether it's sitting in a keg or in a bottle or a can or in a draft line, what's preserving it is the alcohol in it. And these NA products are 0.5%, and they don't have that. So that's a real problem. Now you can pasteurize, but again, you're just adding more heat to a product that's already gotten heat. So honestly, a lot of athletic stuff, I mean, I've had some fresher ones that aren't too bad, but actually the best one I had was the Guinness Zero.
It's actually, I've had that too.
It's a little sweet. I'd like it to be either a little less sweet or a little more bitter. I think I've had a couple of the Heineken Zeros. I've had those. My dad drinks those a lot, and he seems to enjoy those. And they're not bad. I know Klosterhaller and a couple other German breweries, they do some NA stuff. But I just generally just don't drink them because I don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, but they're a great alternative to people who, still want to drink beer and, either for one reason or another, they can't. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Well said.
Yeah.
All right. Anne, would you like to ask question 11? We're taking, it's right. We're going to 11.
Okay, Duncan, is there a particularly good Oktoberfest in the Michigan area?
Well, it's funny. There's a brewery in Brighton called Brewery Becker, a guy I know, Matt. And he just had his last weekend. And he I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or it's just Saturday, Sunday. I can't remember, but no, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And he goes all out. He doesn't spare an expense. The Märzen, the Oktoberfest he brews it super early. I think he brews it in like March or April or something, and lets it lager for a really long time. And then kind of getting closer to it, he also brews a fest beer, which doesn't generally need to age that long. So, and I know he had like live music. I went there to pick up something from it that he made for me, and he was wearing his lederhosen, and a bunch of other people were in their things. And he has a really sweet beer garden out back, and people were out there, and he had a couple like German style food trucks and apparently, yeah. I don't know if like Atwater or some other places do. I'm sure they do, but the only one I can think of right now and that does it very well is Brewery Becker up in Brighton, Michigan. So, yeah.
Brewery Becker in Brighton, Michigan. Okay.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Brewery Becker, Brighton. More alliteration. We are, we are alliterating it today. Question for you. What do you think would happen to you, Duncan, if you were to show up at Oktoberfest in Munich wearing your kilt? What do you think would happen then? Would that be problematic?
I don't know if it'd be problematic. I don't know. I don't know. It's funny. I wear a kilt because I don't own a suit. So any formal events, I wear a kilt. And then I get this attention that I don't crave, yet I wear a kilt. So what does that say about me, I guess?
You're just an attention whore.
Yeah, that I'm passive aggressive. I really, really want attention.
You want attention like your parents have taught you how to want attention. Like
I have my parents have taught me not to want attention. But
I still want to be seen.
Yeah. No, given the trends of kilts and like utila kilts instead of like plaid kilts, you have like denim kilts or leather kilts with pouches, and I won't go on a rant about that, but I'm sure if you went to Oktoberfest, you'd find plenty of people wearing kilts. So, not as much as later.
No, I think you should. I think you should absolutely rant about the utility kilts. But first,
it's fine. I'm not. Yeah, I'm talking. Yeah, it's fine.
Duncan.
Yes. Oh, here we go.
What do you call it when you drink beers with Mr. T?
Pity the foo fest. No, wait. Okay, wait. Mr. T.
I want you to think about what Mr. T looks like.
He looks like the Mohawk, Mohawktoberfest.
You did.
Okay, something like that.
I pity the fool that don't go to Oktoberfest.
Mohawktoberfest. Okay, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I know, right? I know. So yeah,
look really burning the midnight oil on these.
You ain't got to be like that. I can't help it if we're just super talented. But
you really are. No, absolutely.
Exactly.
So
dang.
Yes. And do you have any more questions for Duncan Williams?
I don't, because I've probably already asked them before.
True.
Though I am not a beer expert, I do get a lot of information through osmosis. So
yeah,
it was Carter. I was like, I already know the answer to this. I'm like, yeah, but you still have to ask it because some people don't.
I don't know any of this, so would you enlighten me? So that's awesome. Well then, all right. Well then, I have to do this one. Duncan.
Yes.
What do you call it when you drink beers with a boy band from the '80s that's got it the right stuff?
Oh, that's the Backstreet Boys Toberfest
from the '80s.
Wait, no,
Duncan.
No. New Kids on the Block Toberfest.
Yeah, nicely done. New Kids on the Block. Oh.
I was almost thinking NSYNC too, but they're a '90s one, right?
The right stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait, I have one more. This is one of my favorite ones. All right. What do you call it? Hang on, I gotta find it. Well, like I said, I have a bunch of these. No. Okay, here we go. What do you call it when you drink beers with someone who's worried that she might not get pregnant?
For what a Baron Baron-toberfest. I don't know what.
Biological Clocktoberfest.
Oh, gotcha. All right, yeah.
Okay, I'll stop doing this now.
Yeah.
But I think we'll end it on that note. Okay.
We'll end it on a high note up here.
Yeah.
Up here.
Yeah. Leave them wanting
yeah,
more.
that's such a high.
Leave them
That's
wanting
right.
more.
That's right. Yes, for God's sake, leave them wanting more. Okay. Anyway, we are going to give a humongous. We're gonna put the rest of the Oktoberfest jokes, but like I said, we had plenty more. We probably could have just filled the whole hour with those. Anyway, we are going to give a humongous thank you to Duncan Williams, Master Brewer, and just all around good guy who put up with Joe and I's terrible Oktoberfest jokes. So Duncan Arthur Williams, the first of his name, the king of the Andals and the first men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, and protector of the realm. Long may he reign. No, you guys
Huzzah! Huzzah!
remember? No. Long may he reign, and then you guys say, long may he reign. Okay, let's
Long
try
may-
this. Let's get it right.
Long may he reign.
Okay.
Okay, I can remember.
Long may he reign.
Long may he reign. Long may
Okay,
I
good job,
reign.
you guys. You did. Yay. I think we have a tote bag for you, Duncan. There you go. So, yeah.
Right on. Thanks.
Anyway,
thanks for having me,
You're
guys.
welcome.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure
Mhm.
to have you on the show, Duncan. So, to our audience, well done. You've done it again. You've spent an hour or so with us learning things about stuff. Today, you learned a bunch of Oktoberfest facts from Duncan Williams about beer, German beer, Oktoberfest beer. And you were showered with terrible Oktoberfest jokes.
Yay.
Thank you for spending an hour or so with us. And remember, we want to hear from you, answer our poll questions, and give us your questions, concerns, comments, and
Confessions.
confessions. That's right. There we go. Good.
Duncan wants to confess.
You guys join us next week.
Just
Again,
burnt- I burnt
you can
rolls.
say that again.
Duncan wants to confess that he just burped up some pizza rolls.
Pizza rolls. Yes.
Oh, that's right. Ann and Duncan went. Speaking of that, Ann and Duncan went on Pizza Roll Fest today. So yeah, you're going to be paying for
Big
that one.
mistake.
Big mistake.
I have a feeling the real payment is going to come later tonight for that
Oh, sure.
little festival that you guys had.
No,
Yeah.
Somebody's,
you
as
know.
my brother Todd says, somebody's going to pay.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Joe Peters was not actually with us when we were going through the Oktoberfest jokes, and
Right.
let's just give a hand to Joe Peters because many of
Yay!
these jokes were his.
Prost,
and,
Prost, Joe, Prost.
Prost. So yes, we did good, hon. You'd have liked it. Our timing was excellent, and
Mhm.
there
Very
you
nice.
go.
Very nice.
You guys remember, you can always subscribe, follow, like Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. Alexa knows us. She wants to hear from you. We want to hear from you. Anyway, put the word out to your friends and family. It costs you absolutely nothing to support us. And make sure you join us next week. Next week, you guys, the first weekend of October. So what are we doing? That's right, you guys. We are having Spooktoberfest in October.
Yay.
That's right, Spooktoberfest. It's October, which is Ann's favorite holiday. And what holiday would that be, Ann Brothers?
It is Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween is my favorite holiday.
To hell with Christmas, Halloween.
Halloween.
Well, Ann, maybe the Satanists did get us because we both love Halloween.
Oh,
So
maybe.
there you
Yeah.
go.
They did their
I just
work.
really liked Halloween because it's like a party because my birthday is October 30th. So
Mhm.
it's like, Halloween is just this never ending holiday. for
There
me,
should
'cause
be
it's my
like
birthday and it's
parties and trick or treating every weekend in October.
I 100%
It
agree.
should be this long thing.
Mhm.
That's what
It is. It's still the most fun holiday. It's fun. There's lots of candy available. When you're in college, the parties are epic. So
Mhm.
what's not to love? But because we are going to be celebrating many Halloween-related things all throughout the month of October, next week we will be talking about our favorite scary books. I've already got my list of 5, so I am ready to talk books. So we'll see you guys next week. It will be fantastic. Until then, I am Janice Brothers.
And I am Ann Brothers.
That's right. And wait, I have to turn on the special music.
Oh,
Oh,
Max's
yeah.
music.
I missed
Don't bring
it.
Max's music.
I know. That's right.
Hi.
That's right. I'm Janice Brothers. With me is Ann Brothers and special guest Duncan Williams.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us, you guys. We want you to get out there. We want you to do something smart, something dumb, something fun. We are out of here.